And here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome once again to a special edition of BWTM Sports Gaming. Thank you for joining us. Now, I have with me in a room a regular, a returnee, a faithful, our Eastern European correspondent, Eugene. Eugene, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Let's bring you in that room. Right. Shall we do it this way? Do you like it that way? Or do you like it this way? Let's do it that way.
Yeah,
Let's have it that way.
zoom
Yeah,
up.
cool. So, how have we been?
Been alright so far. Nothing major. Got sick,
Hmm.
got over it. You know,
Legend,
little things.
legend. Little things. You don't make big things. We don't make mountain out of molehills. We just get on with it, right?
Yep.
That's it. Good. So, because we've got quite a few new subscribers, thank you to those new subscribers, by the way. Please reintroduce yourself to people who may not know who you are.
Right. So my name is Eugene, and uh, I'm helping um, I'm helping Ingram fill out the gaps whenever it comes to Eastern European boxers and news about them. Something that wouldn't really get into the mainstream news. So sometimes there is some context that would be worth getting before the fight, so you have a better idea of the fighters and their condition. So I've
Yeah.
been doing that for quite some years now. Um,
And
trying to
may I add, you've done a fantastic job, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so pitching in here and there just so people have more context. That's about it.
So, people who don't know your background, please, can you kind of clarify that for some people?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Ukraine, and in my teenage years, I left for Canada and studied and moved over here, just based out of Canada now. So that kind of provides me, well, I would say it gave me access to media media from both worlds, like because now I'm more of English speaking sphere. I can compare how similar news are treated in the West and how they are treated in the East, in Ukraine, for example, right? And see, the differences, what is being paid attention to, what is being omitted. It gives me a little bit of a perspective that might be useful for someone.
Absolutely, you've done a fantastic job over the years. God knows how many years you've been doing it now, but you've done a fantastic job. You'll continue to do a fantastic job, and you give great insight into what's been going on. And I never thought the day would come where we'd be talking about boxing, and at the corner of our eye, we're talking boxing, but there's a war going on at the same time. I never thought that would be the case, but it is the case now, and we really can't ignore it, can we?
No, I don't think so.
It's not something that can be ignored. It's not something that can be played down. Some people would like to play it down, but it is unfortunately what it is. So that brings us into our next our leading conversation. What's the name says here? They will rob Usyk, and BG London says Eugene and Ingram, big up. Shout out to you, BG London. Okay, so let's talk about a few things I've heard, and then you could bring context to it. Remember last time I spoke to you? I think it was myself, you, and Uncle Bashir may have been,
Yep.
and we talked about the condition of Oleksandr Usyk. There were some stories and reports that he was injured, and then suddenly we see a picture of him, and he looks like a full-blown heavyweight. So tell us what's been going on in that time, from what you've heard.
Okay. So a lot of people, they like to do this visual um, reading from pictures, making a judgment of either a boxer is looking too large or they're looking skinny and unhealthy as if they lost a lot of weight. You know, the the truth is, the longer I've been trying to keep track of those news, the more I have been cautious about it, because it would seem that information that we get online and all the pictures that we see is carefully curated to set up a certain narrative. Uh, if you want, we can go back to the news about Usyk being very heavy and bloated before the first Joshua fight, right? There was a lot of talk about Usyk growing um, disproportionately. He's gonna be large. He's gonna be heavy. He never been at that weight before. And come the fight night, he's not that heavy. There's nothing special, but there was a lot of attention spent on things that weren't there. You know, yes, he was the heaviest he ever was in his career, but at the same time, it was nothing out of the norm for a guy his size, right? I believe he came into the ring uh 220 pounds, 221, right? So that is not that crazy. However, we spend a good deal of time talking about it, which I think is the whole reason behind it. So now there are a few pictures of Usyk coming out being very skinny at the beginning, right? He looks like, oh, he's so stressed. He lost a lot of weight. He's not in the uh, like top condition. He's uh, he's very vulnerable, right? And he's being pressed into this fight, even though there is so much on his plate and so much in his going on through his head. A few weeks later, the narrative changes. He looks massive. He looks like he's gonna come out and try to slug it out. And I don't think we should be paying any credence to that. I think we're being taken for a ride, and it's made deliberately so in order to make a narrative for the people who would try to. I would say it's for the opposite camp, definitely. So they are always guessing. What is it this time? Oh, is he gonna come out and swing? Okay, well then we don't have to be as fast to catch him because he's gonna come at us and things like that. None of it is true. Usyk's gonna come in at the optimal weight. He's still gonna be at about the same weight he was in the first fight, maybe 2 pounds heavier, 2 pounds lighter, nothing significant.
So you're not getting caught up into the hype then.
I'm tired of doing it. It never, it's kind of like, imagine that every morning you wake up is supposed to be Christmas.
Mhm.
So you run to the goddamn Christmas tree and there's nothing there. There's not even the Christmas tree.
Right. I get
Right?
that.
After some time, you gotta make a judgment, like this has been, you fooled me once, fooled me twice. I don't think there's anything there.
So why do you like? Why is there such a big thing on Usyk's like this particular narrative now? Usyk looks massive. He looks into a full blown heavyweight now. What is the narrative they're trying to get spin with that?
I think they want to create this safe and controllable environment for the opposite camp. They're gonna paint a picture that Usyk is gonna be okay. Usyk is so confident, he's gonna come in heavy and he's gonna try to put his feet down and slug it out. He's not gonna be moving much. We don't have to worry about that. We can come in heavy ourselves and just come at it. You know, come the fight night, none of it's gonna be there. He's gonna be slick as ever, and Joshua's gonna be um, potentially again, if it works. Joshua's gonna be waiting for Usyk to come at him, which will not happen the entirety of the fight.
Okay, can you take me back to the first fight, the end of the first fight? Did Usyk say that the fight was easier than he expected against Joshua, or was that something that was spun?
No, that is something that he said. He expected a lot tougher fight. He, uh, they basically were. They did not expect Joshua to try to box with Usyk. It might have been a shorter fight. It might have been anything, but it would have been a lot more dangerous fight than what transpired. And considering that Joshua is essentially decided to try and box with Usyk, he just gifted him a win because that is the best um, outcome that could have happened because it was low risk considering everything. And nothing is completely no risk, but it's a lot lower than trying to slug it out or it was very controllable because now Usyk is the guy who takes slow in the beginning, so if he's not being pressed, he has time to adjust and start ramping out the volume, which exactly what happened, and everything worked out for he never had to switch from plan A to plan B. Let's just put it like that. There was
All right.
very little adjustment required because he was never pressed into it.
Okay. Let's talk about now Robert Garcia coming on board and the stuff he's been saying. Joshua's had mental problems. Joshua, when he gets hit, he smiles. He shouldn't do that. Joshua doesn't really believe in himself. But at the same time, he's saying Joshua is an all-round better heavyweight in the world than the rest of them. But Tyson Fury is a beast. What do you think Usyk and his team have thought about the stuff that Robert Garcia has been saying?
I don't think Usyk himself as a boxer thinks much about what people say. Um, there is an interesting aspect to him, is that you cannot get to his head by talking to him or telling him things. Uh, he treats it very um,
Clinical.
yes, clinical, and I would say that the way to really get at Usyk is in the ring, not outside it. He has some ego, moments that that one could make him pay for, but it is not outside the ring. Outside, he's always almost removed. He's not quite there. If you ever notice, he sits there around. He draws doodles. He makes jokes, faces. He does not involve himself in the pre-fight, promotion
Nonsense.
so much that he doesn't see any value in it. And at the end of the day, he has a very um, restrained view on it. His idea is that promotion is the business of the promoter, and the fighter shouldn't be, making a name for himself. Now, from the business perspective, that is not great. We know that people like following a character. They need the person to drive to sell the fight. It's not enough that the fighter is a gold medalist and he's a uh, unified or absolute champion in cruiserweight. People like to have some drama, but Usyk is not the kind of guy to give it to them. So instead, he just goofing around and trying to provide some kind of um, lighthearted spirit, so people are not completely bored or out of their minds. But at the same time, he's not engaging with the other side. He views it as a job, as a performance that he needs to come ready for, and everything that he does is geared towards that. There's no point in getting into verbal spouts and trying to prove that he's either a better boxer or better puncher. People been saying that he's pillow fisted, and he never went to prove the opposite. He keeps doing exactly what he always does. He boxes, and sometimes when the knockout comes, he grabs the opportunity. But his ego is not hurting from people doubting his ability to knock somebody out. Right.
Let me
You're
come
muted.
to you. Yeah, let me come to you about this point. In a show I did, I think about 2 days ago, people made a big point about, oh, well, it's part of Matchroom's plan to pull Usyk out of the war. They pulled Usyk out of the war. And I tried to explain to them that no, Usyk took leave. He was given leave. He was given special. He was given a special
Consideration.
consideration. That's the word. Special consideration to leave. They are suggesting, there are people suggesting, oh, Usyk's head won't be right because he was pulled out of war. Can you clarify that for us, please?
Okay. First of all, obviously nobody could make Usyk leave the country if he didn't want to. Now, as per his statements and some, reading in between the lines, the conversation went something like this, right? Usyk came back home. He extracted his family, got him out to safety, and now there was a question: either he joins the Ukrainian army, for example, right, to join the fight, which is like he's not a military person, so he doesn't have any valuable skill set for the military. So potentially he might be drafted, but he's not doing. He's not a very valuable asset. But what he could do is something that his wife, for example, is leading now. Now she's in charge of a um, charity foundation. Basically, she's in charge of organizing help for people who have suffered because of the war, either lost their homes or, have some injuries, whatever the case might be. You know, um, they have the ability to provide help to a greater amount of people. Uh, but in order to do so, you need two things, right? Obviously, you need to have reach for those to those people, and because they're quite famous, they have a name. They're able to, expedite certain things, and then you need finances. Well, you can do that one from purse bits and whatnot, and the second one again is an outreach. You're able to stand on the stage in front of the entire world and try to gather as much support as possible for the cause that you are looking to, fulfill. So my understanding is they had a talk about it, and now Usyk wants to use his boxing essentially to help people at home, not with entertainment, but with direct action, either
Now, hold
financial
us, hold a
or
second.
yeah.
I said to people that the money Usyk makes for this fight, I would not be surprised if he donated all of it back to the Ukraine afterwards to help the Ukrainians.
That is possible. I don't know what his plan is. The entirety of the purse bid, half of it, it's still a lot of money, right? And he will be able to get other people on board, perhaps people from there's a lot of famous people who don't want to give their money to some charity that essentially the money will be spent on supporting the entire structure and very little of their money get into the people themselves, right? There's a lot of that. So it's quite possible that he will gather their support, right, and their financial backing for that. So as I see it, he might be choosing a new purpose for himself, right? And the purpose is I gotta win in order to help all those people. and I really want to help them. So I really need to win, right?
Can I throw this at you?
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua has got this new deal with the Zone. It's over 100 million they've talked about. Is there any way, shape, or form that Oleksandr Usyk could be bought and they say, look, give up the titles, let Anthony become a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, and we'll give you X amount of money on top of what you're already going to get for the fight to help your people in Ukraine? Just give the belts up. Is he a kind of guy that will give the belts up because of that?
No, I don't think so. Anything and everything that we know about Oleksandr Usyk says that his ego, his desire uh, to achieve excellence in boxing is something special these days, I would say. He's able to stick with the plan and cut out the nonsense a lot better than most of the people these days. And it's partly because he has never been a star child, right? If you think about it, Usyk haven't got recognition uh, until what? The end of World Boxing Super Series, right? Unlike, for example, Lomachenko. Lomachenko, because he was the gold medalist twice, and he left for America and made a name for himself over there. He was raised to be a very successful person from the get-go, right? And there is a lot of ego issues because of that. I've um, I've seen talk about him having issues with his father because his father has a very um, professional and focused um, approach to boxing. And Lomachenko doesn't want to be a daddy's boy just to win. He wants to have some personality showing, even if it's at the detriment, right? Um, the fact that he was both injured and didn't have the rematch clause with Teofimo Lopez is exactly that. On one hand, you know, he didn't have a rematch clause because they were convinced that they wouldn't have to. On the other hand, he got injured and he still didn't pull the plug on the fight. So the ego was played against him, right?
Ego.
Because he didn't want to take his father's word for it. And now, when he was just about to get his belt back, something else happens. Now his country is at war. He's not leaving it. Well, that's his personal choice. Again, he was offered to do so, but for whatever reason he hasn't chosen it. Nobody can say that he would prefer war to meeting Kambosos or Haney. So there must be some severe personal reason why he doesn't want to leave the country yet. But you have Lomachenko who is suffering from ego. His antics in the ring where he lets Comey off the hook when he had him dead for rights to knock him out cold and be done with the fight. He starts gesturing towards his corner and saying, guys, you should throw the towel and stuff like that. Very unprofessional, very unneeded, just bravado, almost immature. On the contrast, you have Usyk, who never never been recognized that much and has always had to work for everything that he does.
Hold on, excuse me. Shout out Ibra S. Shout out to you, my brother, member of the BWTM family. He says, very good interview, insightful. This is Eugene. He's a regular on the channel, and he's Eastern European correspondent. Not so much an interview, just a chat. But thank you so much.
Right.
Sorry.
So, as I was saying, Usyk never had that easy way out. So everything he does, he has to, work double. He has to work twice as hard for, just by the nature of things. And so far, that has shown us that he's just on a different level. So
So if Eddie Hearn comes and offers him a ton of money and says, look, mate, this is the money you're making at the moment, right? We give you double that money, give us your belts, right? And then just go off into the sunset. You can sort Ukraine out with the money we give you, do what you want, live out your life, come to a family, everything's sorted, and you can just go off into the sunset. You've been champion of the world, mate. You've proven you can beat Josh. Let's come back and have a third fight somewhere down the line. If he's approaching that way, then
I don't think it's gonna happen. Even if supposedly Hearn was to approach him and say, you can do a lot better with just taking the dive than winning all this prize money. I don't think Usyk would go for it because it's always about the investment. Today you might be able to cash out and earn a bunch of money, but now you are the loser, which means there not going to be all these cameras and microphones stuck in your face, which means your outreach is a lot lower. And considering the cause that he's trying to pursue is a lot greater than himself, that's a loss, because money is good, but they're not everything. And money can buy you things, but they cannot get you things in the moment. So, for example, in let's just say you have a lot of money and you have a lot of people to take care of. Now, the question is, are you going to be able to provide that care if there is nothing to buy? Like, for example, right? In order to provide medication, the medication should be there, right? You have money, but nothing to buy with it. Right? The country is at war, the logistic is broken, or maybe you have outreach instead, and you can reach people from different countries. We see Klitschko's having outreach in Germany, and people who want to help out, they can help with material instead of money. That saves a lot of time, and by extension saves a lot of lives. That is a lot more valuable. So money, I don't think it's only about the money. It's also about having that stage of being the champion of the world.
in essence, you're saying that Usyk's not the kind of guy who's going to sell his soul.
He wasn't that before the war broke out. He's definitely not gonna turn one now that the war is here, because now there is a calling
A
larger
greater
than him.
cause, a greater cause outside himself.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And
So,
that's what
mhm.
keeps him hungry. That is a big problem for anyone who goes to the top, is to keep being hungry, right?
His spiritual convictions, religious convictions have been something that I've kept him very strong as well, even through the dark times. I know that from way back in 2013, talking to Uncle Bashir, he would often go to talk about his church and his faith. And I remember Uncle Bashir and him were in a car together, and he made this, and it was he was away from home, and he made a stop off somewhere because he saw a church just to go in the church and pray. Very dedicated man for sure. Your thoughts or what you know?
Um, it's true. He's quite religious, but I think it's also something that keeps his ego in check, you know, because mm, a lot of like it's very easy for people to get some sort of significant sum of money in Ukraine, And with different currency, you have access to uh, a whole separate lifestyle. Doors just open for you, and it's a temptation that a lot of fighters go through. Because all of a sudden they been from a normal person who always been looking up to having certain lifestyle. They achieve that, and that becomes the purpose itself, which erodes that person who was striving to be great. Now, I believe that um, Usyk, Usyk's conviction is something that keeps him honest with himself, which is a lot greater than, you know, a lot greater treasure than a lot of things you can have in life. So yeah, I think his religious aspect plays a great deal of uh,
Leif Gramerson, good evening, brother Leif. Hope that all is well with you. Another massive supporter to the BWTM family. So shout out to you. Great to see you in the room as always. He says, everyone has a price, as the $1 million man would used to say. I honestly think Usyk will have to turn something down and have trust in his whole team too. Your thoughts on that? Thank you, Leif.
oh, most definitely. Um, one of the well, let's start with the fact that the fight is happening in Saudi Arabia. The only reason that should happen is economic, right? I guess Saudi Arabia is offering the amount of money so great that it makes the best economic sense for them to go there. I have my suspicions about the testing stringency in Saudi Arabia. It looks like a place where shady things happen to me. I'm not 100% certain, but it kind of looks to me that whenever Joshua is in trouble, all of a sudden Saudi Arabia just comes out of nowhere. When he was winning, you know, uh, there was no talk of Saudi Arabia, never been there. As soon as he loses, okay, let's take Ruiz out to Saudi Arabia. Let's take Usyk out to Saudi Arabia. You know, why when he loses he becomes the most interesting uh, attraction economical for Saudis, not when he's winning. That must not uh, must be a different reason why they go there.
Joshua fights in Saudi to dodge father testing. Shout out to Volts UK.
It's quite possible. To me, it just looks very suspicious. You know, why didn't they
But
host the first fight there? They wanted the most money. Let's host the first. You have one gold medalist against the other gold medalist. You have champion in cruiserweight against champion in heavyweight. Very large event. Let's host it in Saudi Arabia. Instead, they wait until Joshua loses, and then they have to host it now in Saudi Arabia. Very suspicious.
well, in the could the Saudis offer him a lot more money as well, or soften him up when he was over there? I mean, he's over there now, and he's doing all these media things, and would they not soften him up when he's over there, make him feel at home like a hero and all that stuff?
I don't think so. I don't think it's well. I
Or do
don't
you think,
think they have.
or do you think he's beyond that? I mean, mentally, do you think he's beyond that now? A man who's okay. Another story I heard is this true that Usyk actually, um, now I don't know if this is true, but I read it somewhere. That's why I want to clarify. Did he take any lives when he was out on the battlefields, or is that not true?
No, 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 no. He wasn't on the front lines.
Okay.
When he arrived home, I think he joined the Territorial Defense Force, which means it's a bunch of civilians. You get handed a gun and said, well, in case things get too dicey, we hope you have our backs, right? Because sometimes you can have groups of people sneaking in and trying to do
Yeah.
damage inside the cities, way behind the front lines. So
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
like to have somebody there who can keep an eye on things. So
Right.
no, I don't think he joined the fight in itself, but he was talking about having friends who joined the fight in, and they're no more. They're dead.
Wow.
So you know when people are talking about his mental state, I believe that is something to keep in mind. That yeah, he's alive and he's fighting for millions of dollars while his friends are in the ground. Not all of them,
When
obviously, but
when
that's
he but when he looks at Joshua, what does he see?
I think he sees a child. Like to me, that's
Mm,
that, that's what I saw when I was watching the presser, because it seemed a lot like Eddie Hearn sits there with Joshua on his lap and talks to him kind of like Santa is talking to the kid, right? Well, what do you want? You had a great career, and he's like leading him on to just say these stock things. Joshua is not speaking his mind; it's just Eddie Hearn is pulling things out of him. He's just, well, let's take conversation here. It's kind of like a script, right? Okay, you're gonna read this passage from the script, and here goes Joshua. Oh, uh, I've always been getting better, ever since earning the title. Like it's nothing. When Usyk is talking, he speaks his mind. He speaks it through Krasuk, his translator, but Krasuk is not leading the conversation, right? Meanwhile, when it was Joshua's time to speak, it was everything. It wasn't a question from the reporters. It wasn't the question from the crowd. It was a dialogue with Eddie Hearn. When a child cannot make up his mind, you lead them on. Well, do you want a Kinder Surprise? Do, do, do you want a toy car? What do Joshua, tell me what you want. It is so strange. Like there is no person behind it.
I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. And Usyk sees that too as well. Just like when they were standing next to one another, and Hearn told them to look in a certain direction, look towards the camera, and then Joshua he went like this. He went to Usyk, and Usyk just looked at him, and he kept looking at him, and he kept looking at him. And I thought, he said, and I was thinking to myself, last time I messed you up. This time I'm going to really F you up. This time I'm really going to F you up. That's what I saw in his eyes. I mean, am I reading too much into that or what?
It's hard to say because Usyk is not a very judgmental person. He's just, he makes, again, everyone makes a judgment about a person, how you interact with someone. But it's not to say that, when he looks at him as a kid, in my mind, right? It doesn't mean that he doesn't see any threat or he doesn't, even consider him. But it's the fact that he expected more. There's always that, where are you? Where is the champion? Where is the person? You never, you can never feel the ego coming from Joshua, something that imposes, his ego to impose himself and say, I'm the champion and I'm going to fight for those belts. You know, I'm the champion and I'm going to say how this fight goes.
He's not that
There's
kind of
none of
guy.
that.
He's not that kind of guy.
No. So
Okay.
imagine for Usyk, who is a control freak. We know that for a fact. To see that in front of him, like, well, you don't really want to be here, do you?
You don't really want to be here. That's the one. You don't really want to be here. You don't want this again, do you? I whooped you the first time. I'm gonna whoop you again. You really want a whooping again? You really want a whooping again? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like Tyler says. There's so many. There's so many shady things going on in boxing. I think if Hearn pulls something and they rob Usyk, it will hurt boxing and Hearn dramatically. AJ is exempt from drug testing. Is he? I know Jerome Miller made a big thing of it.
Again, that Saudi Arabia thing is sketching me out.
It
But
is.
there is one thing that I know for sure. Usyk is not alone when it comes to these tricks.
Okay.
They dropped the ball with Chisora fight, right? When he didn't know the size of the ring before he came out into it, when they didn't have a chance to inspect his gloves, right? There were
Yeah.
a lot of there were a lot of early calls for things to be re-examined. Now, as the champion, they're in charge of organizing the fight, right? And if you haven't forgotten, he's still with the Klitschko brothers company, the K2 Promotions.
Really? Is he still with K2?
I believe so. Well, he's still walking around with Krasuk, right?
Okay.
That's his promoter. He has been with him from 2013. Maybe now he renamed it as. Maybe there is some special contract with him, like for Usyk promotional company or whatever.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
Joshua has the same thing. He has his AJ promotions or whatever. It doesn't change a thing. The people are still the same.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha.
So I think Klitschko's are keeping an eye on it. All the sketchy thing that might happen.
They'll be around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie Hearn's cash cow is protected. Usyk has a bigger task now with corruption. It's called TUE.
What is called TU?
Yeah, I'll have to get him to come back on that one. What is the perception of Usyk before and after the war?
That is interesting. Because, well, he kind of had to spill the beans when the entire thing broke out. And as far as it goes, it went like this. Usyk didn't want to announce his convictions, his beliefs. It just he was staying away from any sort of political aspect, right? Again, I told you before that before the war broke out, his wife, his family, they used to live in Russian occupied part in Crimea, right? And there was a pressure from the Ukrainian populace for him to, show his colors, who he really is. He couldn't do that because his family is on occupied territories, and they were getting some threats. So he decides to take them out. Right, he takes them out and moves them from Crimea to suburbs of Kiev. Right, so they're away. Nobody's threatening them to, I don't know, bomb their car or something. Right, and it's nasty stuff. So couple of years pass and the war breaks out, and his house now in Kiev gets trashed and looted by Russian soldiers. Now, before that happened, he took his family away to safety. So, by the time they reach his house, it was already empty. But he was under constant threat from Russians, and his wife finally spelled the beans that we couldn't say anything because we were constantly threatened, and you guys constantly were pushing him to say the unflattering things towards the Russians, which would put us in danger. So he couldn't do that. So the only thing that he could say is basically nothing. He just looking around like he would pretend that he wouldn't understand the question. But now that the war broke out, she speaks quite openly about, well, yeah, we're not we're not fans of Russians, and every couple of years now it seems we have to move because of them. And in general, it's just they're they're appalled, obviously, because, like I said, they lost friends in this war. That is not something you can easily get over or justify to yourself, because that's very personal.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
by the way, TUE stands for Therapeutic Use Exemption. Oh dear. Oh dear. Let's see. AJ is playing the man. Usyk is a man. Is the man.
That's very fair.
He made a big mistake letting Ruiz hold the belts. LOL. Yeah, he made a big mistake. I said when he held them belts, it was not a good sign.
Oh, the thing is, I don't think it. How do I put it? You don't make mistakes, because if you made a mistake, it's because of the person you are, not because you made one mistake, right? You're in the mindset where you're susceptible to making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't holding the belt, it would be something else.
Well, he did it more than once, though. The geezer's done it more than once.
Right. What I'm saying is, it wasn't just the mistake that he let Ruiz hold his belts. It's the Joshua the man that is the source of the mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. But remember, he's very calculated in what he does. Remember that. He's a smart man.
Right. I'd
But
like
here's
to
what he
see
said.
that smart man.
Okay, here's this one. And this guy's got a cracking answer to it. Is where he goes, AJ lost the eye of the tiger. He used to have that killer mindset, but he made too much money. That's what Michael Buffer says. And then Tyler responds by going, he ain't lost any eyes. He's just facing a real fighter now, not cherry picked.
Well, here's the thing, though. He has military mind.
Military mindset, yeah, military mindset. And he's got murder on his mind.
Good for him. AJ's in a tough one. I don't see salvage in his situation. And he did, what did they say? Is he gonna be a Mexican style boxer now?
I just find it funny. I find it hilarious. But anyway.
You're gonna be a slugger when you have no chin, no stamina.
No defense.
No defense.
And don't know what to do when you get hit on the chin. Oh dear. And doesn't know how to, up to this day doesn't know how to block a left hook. But anyway, let's move on from that. Jerome Miller and Dillian White accused. Good evening to Dan the Man, by the way. Jerome Miller and Dillian White accused Joshua of receiving TUE exemptions for testosterone for his fights.
It's cool. I never heard of that, but then again, Joshua was getting pretty swole, suspiciously so.
Good evening to Denise Wards. Thank you so much, Denise. Much support to you, much love to you. Been with the channel since 2012. 10 years. Thank you so much. Big support. So yeah. There's some other things about Usyk I want to talk about. The selfie. it looks like he got Joshua again. He got another selfie with Joshua. What is it about him taking photos with or Joshua allowing this selfie thing to keep going?
Okay. If you're reading too, I wouldn't read it too much from the Usyk side because,
No.
again, Usyk is just goofing around. He's not taking anything seriously. Hey, I'm gonna take a picture with this guy. I'm gonna wear a hat that I can barely see anything under. Like the guy is there just to kill the time until the fight happens because it's all nonsense to him, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Okay, fine. I might as well have some fun while I'm at it. While Joshua is obviously no,
Very serious.
well, he's very calculated, all right.
Hold on. Let me do an AJ impersonation. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on.
I think the screen froze.
like every time without fail at a press conference, you get that look, that blank look. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Eugene, what is the perception of AJ and Hearn in the Ukraine? That's a good question.
I would say next to none. Here's the thing. People don't really think much of promoters, right? For them, it's either a promoter outside of Ukraine, it's either a option to get bigger outreach, or it's like mark of success, you would call it, right? Because if a person is stuck within Ukraine and nobody's signing them, that's kind of indicator that their career is not going too splendid. So, they would look at Hearn and be like, well, you can make some money with that guy, all right? They don't read into it who Hearn is, how he conducts his business, what is the well, what's what do you call it? What's the potential of a fighter that signs with Hearn? Nobody really thinks in those terms.
Right, gotcha.
And in terms of AJ, they would just again, they know basic things about him, but he never been a controversial person to begin with, so I don't think they really would have any special perception of him, right?
Okay.
Fury, sometimes he's being a loudmouth. People might have different opinions on him because of that. There is some
Character.
kind of character there, right? There's something
Yes.
to debate. With AJ,
Personality.
you can replace AJ with any other person, nothing changes,
Yeah, I hear that.
right?
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. Not being disrespectful or anything, but the topic tonight is Oleksandr Usyk, and because we've got Eastern European correspondent in the house, Eugene, that's what we're focused on. So no Tyson Fury talk. Denise Wards, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Much appreciated the support. I really appreciate the support. Any support we do have, and thank you so much for that contribution. It is much appreciated. Okay, so Eugene, what are your thoughts on the top that Oleksandr Usyk was wearing? I think I posted that top on the in the. Let me see if I can get it on the screen as well. Let me see if I can get the image of him. Let me see if I can get this up. I did it in picture, but let's see if we can get this one up. Yeah, this one here. Let's use this one. If I can get this one. Let's see if I can get this picture up for people. Trying to get a picture up. It's the picture of Oleksandr Usyk. This one here. I don't know if I can get it, but I'll try and get it. I'll try and get it zoomed in on the screen. Let's see here. Let's see. I just do screen share, share screen, audio. Right. Just want you to look at the picture. If I can. Can you see that picture there?
Mm-hmm.
If you can, let me see if I can get this on here for you.
I can see.
Right, that. See the top, the colors of freedom. Is that? Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me? Do you know anything about that colors of freedom top?
What do you mean, though?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Ukrainian colors is colors of freedom. What is he wearing there? What? Obviously, it's to do connected to the wall. But what? Do you know anything else about the top, or it's a message,
yeah.
or?
There's a lot of. First of all, he has his own merch lineup, right? So in
Yes.
case, and they're getting pretty interesting with their designs. But the whole idea is, you know, before the war broke out, uh, you know, different analysts would be saying that Ukraine would fall within 3 days. Kiev would be captured. You know, there would be maximum a week and stuff like that. Very dismissive, and basically Ukrainians had to prove themselves as to, you know, having the desire to be free. And it's a strong conviction that a lot of people are willing to die for,
Wow.
right? So it's an attempt to fight off the belief that a lot of people had. You know, people had that mindset that it would be another Afghanistan, right?
Right.
As soon as some, you know, any sort of hostility break out, and Americans are not there to stop it, it means everything collapses and people are not willing to fight for anything. People don't believe in anything. You know, the president fleds, and everything goes down the drain. But you know, Ukrainian society put up a fierce resistance and inspired a lot more people to join the fight. And as such, it's a very very inspiring occasion, comparable to that of, I guess, British resistance in the Second World War. You know, when they just had to join up together and stand for freedom. So he's, you know, he has a lot of T-shirts like that with basic callbacks to, I guess, pay homage to the people who defend Ukraine.
Wow. Here's another one. Let's see, let me get close up on the. I've got this one here. It's a closer picture here. Got a better picture. Let me get this up for you. Let's see. Sub screen. Let's get share screen again. I've got a better picture for you. Try this one. How's about that one?
Yeah. That's
Colours of freedom.
definitely his. You see his right sleeve. That means that his Usyk 17, that his brand, meaning that's from his personal merch.
Right.
That's also another political statement by him, right? For people,
Really?
no, of course, because people constantly wanted him to make his colors known. Where are his
Yes,
colors?
yeah. There's his colours.
Colors
So
of freedom.
he's making his colours known without speaking about it. He's letting it be known.
Of course.
Wow, speaking without speaking.
You know, sometimes the quietest person in the room gets heard the loudest, right?
Yeah, at the end, yes, totally. He said at the press conference, Usyk, or he said somewhere that he's not one for big speeches. He says he just, you know, He's going to train hard and prepare for the fight. When he said he wasn't one for big speeches, was he having a pop at Anthony Joshua, or was he just in general talking about that?
I would say he was talking in general because, you know, I would assume his mindset is so humble right now, knowing what he knows, right? Having the life go the way he would never expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot. There is a lot more to be said by action than just talking.
What do you think Usyk's thoughts would be regarding Robert Garcia, the new team, the DAZN deal for Anthony Joshua, the new mindset of Anthony Joshua? What do you think is
Another mindset?
And Robert Garcia, another one. So Robert Garcia's had a few houses so far, and there's another one. He said that he gives Joshua notes for him to write down his notes, so he keeps reading before he comes to the gym. What would Oleksandr Usyk be thinking of all of this?
What I think is happening, like Usyk wouldn't focus too much on it, but it is not something that it tells anybody you ask. It is not something. Person who is confident,
No, it
ready.
isn't. No, writing notes down.
It's a way to cheat your way out of a problem. If the whole idea is, if Joshua is so mentally fragile that he needs to be reset and propped up by little notes, by little tricks, it's not gonna work. Because a person of a sound mind does not need to, I don't know, read little notes before he shows up to gym so he knows why he's in the gym. Right? What are those notes about? Brilliant, AJ. That's the note. It's a little trick to kind of get you into what I think it is, right? It's a little trick to make you enter a certain mindset. But the problem is, if mindset is not natural to you, if it's not the mode at which you operate day in and day out, it's gonna fly out of you as soon as you get clipped. And we're gonna see the same AJ we saw before, the AJ who is afraid of being knocked out.
That's the biggest thing. He's scared of getting knocked out.
And it's gonna happen again. He's gonna be in that mindset again, because they wouldn't do these little things if it wasn't the problem for him. They're trying to cheat that mindset that he's in. So somehow blitz through the obstacle so fast that he doesn't have the time to scare himself, essentially.
So these people are saying, "Oh, are you just going to come out there and just blow him out? Come out there and just attack Usyk?" But I think Usyk was expecting that the first time round.
He definitely did, and my question would be, if he could do that, if he's the guy with that ability and mindset to come out and blow him out of the water, why didn't he do it the first time? It would be definitely a lot easier to try to outbox Usyk.
Good question.
If it's definitely more in his nature than trying to box with him, but he has a mind of his own, and he decided to prove us all wrong, and in the end proved us all right.
So, answer this. Robert Garcia, I remember I mentioned Robert Garcia to you just when I found that news that Rob McCracken was getting sacked, that Robert Garcia was going to be the new trainer. All that time then, so I think about all that time back, maybe December last year. Maybe it'd been December. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that was a long time ago. And then after I said it to you, AJ went on the Leave No Trainer Behind tour and he went with all those other trainers, even though Robert Garcia was his trainer. And along that journey, he met James Bashir. So Usyk would have known that Joshua met with Bashir, but he chose to have Garcia in his corner instead. Would that have had any effect on Usyk's mindset? The fact that Joshua picked Garcia ahead of Bashir?
It could be. You know what? Because Usyk's friend, Oleksandr Gvozdik, used to train under Robert Garcia.
Okay.
Right? So in case he wants to know, what is this Garcia fellow all about, you can just dial up his buddy who has spent, what, 8, maybe 10 training camps with Robert? And be like, hey, I have a bit of a problem, and you've been my sparring partner for all these years.
I'm a very cool and calculated businessman. Wow. You pick a trainer who said you got mental problems. You pick a trainer that says he has to write notes for you. You pick a trainer who says you don't believe in yourself. You pick a trainer that says you're all round a better boxer, puncher than the rest of the heavyweight division.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyson Fury is a beast. I mean, you're not exactly picking a trainer that truly believes in you, are you?
No. And
now you pick a trainer. You could pick Bashir. You pick a trainer, and Bashir would be better for Joshua simply because it didn't end on a satisfactory note for Bashir. So Bashir would have been more motivated to see Joshua win the title back.
Yeah, and he knows the ins and outs of Usyk.
Alexander
He has
Usyk.
been with him for what, 12 camps, 13 camps?
There you go.
He trains heavyweights, which is helpful since you're a heavyweight.
Yeah, but news come out of Joshua's camp was that they thought that Bashir talked too much.
Oh, I see. Because Garcia haven't spilled just everything that he could about Joshua. Like the things that Garcia has said about Joshua so far, it seems like he talks a lot. Period.
Mm-hmm. Robert Garcia wasn't sacked. What are you talking about? They had to part ways because they were kicked out of the Sheffield gym because it's for amateurs. It was Sky Boxing that kept them there. But after the split, they had to find somewhere else to go. Robert Garcia wasn't sacked.
By whom?
What's he talking about? Maybe he's talking about Rob McCracken.
Yeah, maybe meant one, but said the other.
Oh, Robert McCracken wasn't sacked.
Okay.
They had to part ways because they were kicked out of the Sheffield gym because it was for amateurs. It was Sky Boxing that kept them there. Wow. From what I understand, Rob McCracken wasn't that good with AJ. That's what I'm hearing. But I won't go into it. It's not my business to disclose what was going on. But from what I understand, I've been informed. But anyway, I don't. What are your thoughts on this whole rematch? Wow. I said,
yep.
I mean, look, watch this. Lennox Lewis, Vladimir Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko. Those two guys, after getting beat, they got knocked out. They went and got Emmanuel Stewart in, and both of them moved into training in professional training camps. This guy, Joshua, gets beat up, and he still goes back to amateur boxing gym. And he calls Lennox Lewis a clown. Can you believe him?
Yeah, it's very backwards. I'm not sure what Joshua is doing, because taking this rematch immediately after he lost is not a good idea. It would be a lot better if,
he went away.
Right? Usyk fights Tyson.
Yes. and then he can come back and maybe fight Tyson.
Right.
If Tyson were to beat Usyk. Let
Or the
Tyson
other
do
way.
it with him.
Either way, I don't think Tyson would walk away from beating up Joshua from the opportunity to do so. And Usyk would definitely rematch at Joshua because that's a lot of money. Why not? Right? But you would have a better chance of rebuilding, working on some things.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think Usyk versus Fury would be a one-fight ordeal. There would
Mhm.
definitely be a rematch.
Mhm.
So there would be a lot of time for Joshua to reset, work on some things.
Mhm.
Instead, he just presses himself against the wall and waits for the shot.
Mhm. What did you make of the end? The part where Oleksandr Usyk was dancing with all the Saudi Arabians. What did you make of him?
There's not much to make of it. It's just
Well,
guys.
yeah, but hold on. Did we just have COVID?
Oh, fuck. Listen,
Did we just have?
the
Did we have
guy
COVID?
is about to make how many millions? I don't know. 20,
I,
30
I would
millions?
I wouldn't want him to contract COVID and then end up fighting Joshua with COVID. I wouldn't want that.
He's gonna be all right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I pray so.
But if I was about to make the easiest 30, 40 millions of my lifetime, I would be dancing too.
Shit. What about? Did you see the promotional trailer? And Joshua was in the ring looking at Usyk, and Usyk did that little dance afterwards. People said that Joshua looked demoralized and broken. Your thoughts?
He looked demoralized and broken at the presser. If you watch Joshua, his face remains the same, but his eyes dart
Yeah.
around the place all the time.
No, it's this one. Hold on. To me, I still don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why does he bring headphones to a press conference?
I don't know. You know, because it's a bad look to begin with. It looks like you're hiding away from the other person. Right? You kind of try to create this shell around yourself that you cannot hear anyone and you just stare in the corner. While the other person is just running amok, dancing around and not taking you seriously.
You said to me, let me get this up. I'm going to get this picture up. I've got to get this picture up because I still don't like it. But I mean, let me see if I can get this picture for you. See if I can get it up for you. See if I can picture. I'm trying to find a picture for you. Let me show you something from the first fight.
All right.
Let me show you this picture here. Here we go. Look. Let me get this for you up. Right. Share picture. Share screen. Volume. Yeah. This one. I will check this picture out.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the picture?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Mike Tyson doing that before a fight?
I like the little tap on the shoulder.
I'm gonna mess you up tonight. I'm gonna mess you up. I'm gonna mess you up. I'm spoiling you now, but I'm gonna mess you up when I give you that ring. Hello.
It's okay. I'll call a cab for you.
I'm like, I mean, This stuff here, you're the heavyweight champion of the world. Would Lennox Lewis have been doing that with Usyk?
No. It's too buddy.
Yeah. Tyson Fury could do that.
Yeah, Fury can kiss a man on the mouth.
Yeah, Fury's a different kettle of fish. He's a different breed. This guy, false sense of security.
Maybe. Why would you feed somebody's ego if they lack in that department anyways? Might as well feel them very comfortable before you hurt them.
Look at Eddie Hearn there. He's so happy. They weren't happy after the fight.
No, he won't.
Should we read anything into this? People say, oh, they're looking too deep into things, but I thought Joshua was too friendly with him then. Way too friendly.
Yeah, but we always come back to the same problem that Joshua is just not there. He never imposes himself. He never pursues anything with, as much as a champion should.
Okay, let me show you this one. It gets better. It gets better. Let me get another one. Stop this one. Get this on. I just want to show you this one. I think it gets from bad to worse. Check this one out right here. It gets from bad to worse.
Which one are you talking about?
This one here I've just brought up. You see this one I brought up now? Can you see it? You can't see it, can you? If I change it, let me see. Did I bring
on the right, right?
Yeah, let's try it again. I'll try and do it for you again. Hold on. And people say you should look into this, but I'm looking into it because Joshua's made the same mistake before, and it looks like he wants to make the same mistakes again. The hell is this? The hell is this? What the hell is this?
Is that before or after the fight? It's hard to tell.
That's before the fight. What's this?
It's just a bad picture.
It's just a bad picture. Oh, wait. Hold on. And people say I'm looking too much. I said he's too nice with Usyk. He was telling the people, oh, Usyk, they Ukrainian people love the way they box and the way they fight, and this and that about the Ukrainian people. And what happened afterwards? Jesus. Let me get you one more picture.
All right.
I've got to hang up because people think that I'm looking into this too much, but I look into too much. I just think that Joshua gives up a lot of things, mentally gives up a lot of things. All right, second brings back here. Hold on, if I can bring the picture up. Look at this one, post fight. Right. Look at this crap. You can see this one. I'm like, what the hell is this, man? Doesn't look like a man that really. I wouldn't stand for it personally, but this. What's this? What's that?
I'm not quite sure. He doesn't look upset that he lost, though.
I'm like, yeah, bruv, come in. I haven't seen you for months. Where you been? I tell you what, come in. I'll give you a cup of tea. I got some hot cross buns in the oven there. come over. It's all right, mate. You guess what? I've got PS5 now. I've got PS5. I've got PS5 now.
Sold all my belts. Now I got the PS5.
I got PS5. Yeah, you come round. Yeah, maybe I could beat you on Fight Night Champion there. Yeah, you could be me. I could be you. What do you think? Can you imagine? Look at this. Can you imagine Wilder or Fury acting like this after defeat? This is what I'm talking about. This guy, isn't he meant to be a gangster and this and that? And I don't know. Like Leif makes a great point. AJ could be intimidated. Mike Tyson won fights before fights with via the Mystique. Man Shooter said, of course he did. There's stories of Mike Tyson punching holes in the wall. Could you believe stories about this guy punching holes in the wall?
Well, I know for a fact Galota was terrified of fighting him. I think Galota was supposed to fight Mike Tyson, right?
Oh my God! Yes, Galota did fight Mike Tyson, and Mike knocked him down. I think in the next round he didn't want to fight.
But the story was that he was terrified of fighting him before. He would, hide in a locker room instead of going to the sparring, and he would just get it into his head that he would be just, torn to bits.
Yeah. So, right.
Yeah. So it's definitely, you cannot afford yourself to be of a weak mind to fight in the ring. Because it's all, when they're saying it's 90% mental, it's very true, because you can react differently to punches. Somebody punches you and you either get more resolve to keep on fighting, or you might crumble.
Yeah.
It depends on the mindset. You might stick with the plan or start swinging for the fences because you're so frustrated. It's all mindset.
It says, Michael Boffer says, I remember a lady watching Joshua at the press conference, and she said she would never date a man like AJ. He doesn't have an alpha. He doesn't have an alpha male about him. No confidence, no ego.
Wow. Ouch.
This one here, John Smith. AJ acted like he's passing the torch.
Yeah, and Usyk is telling him, nah, keep it.
He's like saying, nah, welcome to London. Welcome to Heavyweight Championship of the World. You're going to make a great champion. Here's my belts. Thank you very much. I wish you a safe flight back to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
AJ likes the other side. Money changes people.
I don't think it's money. I don't think he ever been different.
I think this is the AJ they were hiding. That's what I think.
Maybe. Yeah, quite possibly.
Do you have any final thoughts?
I say I have suspicions about the fight. Like we talked about, it's happening in Saudi Arabia again. And that's something to look out for. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. Maybe there's something behind it. And, in general, things are not looking good for AJ. And it's very unfortunate for him because he's clearly been mishandled. People around him just not looking for the best of him. I suspect that he's going to get very hurt in this fight.
That's what I think. But anyway, hold a second. There's the story of Mike Tyson punching thank you, Danley Man, punching the wall stemmed from Butch Lewis, who was Spinks' promoter, caught Tyson being hand-wrapped and gloved before being expected. Lewis demanded Tyson to be rewrapped. Well, that didn't help him, did it? It didn't help him at all. It didn't. Poor Spinks. Remember when AJ put on Brazil? AJ put it on Brazil. AJ looked mad back then. That AJ there is what. That's how he should be with Usyk. You're not about that life. You're not about that life. Wait, let me see if I can get that clip up before, just to finish it off. Just to bring back the memories of good old, the best of AJ. Because that's the AJ we need. We need that AJ. We need him back. And we'll probably won't play the sound, but we need that AJ back. Let's begin. Hold my belt. Yeah, it is. Let me get it here. Let me get it here. Let me get a second. Oh, let me turn the volume down. I don't want where's the music? Where's the sound on this? Ah, there we go. I'll get it here. There you go. I'm trying to get it here. Yeah, this is what we need. Okay. I've got to get the part one to this. There's two parts to this. Let me just get this up quickly. And this is what I'm talking about. Share screen. I won't play the audio to this one, but just look at it very quickly. Yeah, when AJ gets mad. That's with Povetkin, right?
Yeah.
Where's this guy gone? Oh, Drew Miller. Oh, where's that guy gone? Where's the landlord gone? That's the landlord right there.
That's before Ruiz, right?
Yeah. Where's the landlord gone? That's the landlord. Where's the landlord? Where is he? Where's the landlord? That's the guy we're looking for.
Huh.
That's the man we're looking for, right? That's the man we're looking for. Has anyone seen that guy recently? That's the guy we're looking for. Cameo by Demetrius Andrade. There's more excitement in 5 seconds than his whole career, isn't it? That's the most exciting he's ever looked at it. Come on, let's see if we can get more of AJ. This is the classic one. This is the one we're looking for. Right, this is the one. This is the AJ we're looking for. This one right here. This is what we want him to be doing with Usyk. You're not about that life. You're not about that life. You're not about that life. Don't come run up on me. Who are you? Don't. That's what we're looking for. That's the AJ you want with Usyk. You might get knocked out quicker. There we go. Here we go. That's it. The landlord. That's it. That's it. That's the AJ we were looking for. It's not hating. That's the AJ we want.
Yeah.
That's the AJ we want. Yeah.
Huh. Would make for a better fight.
Where's that guy gone? You're not about that life. No, you're not about that life. Eddie, it's not about them belts, Eddie. Look, you're not about that life. Yeah, I'm Brazil. I'm trouble. You're not about that life. You're not about that life. Don't push up yourself against me. You're not about that life. Don't push up yourself against me. All you Americans talk too much. Don't push up yourself against me. All you Americans talk the same. When it comes to backing it up, you can't back it up. Don't try. Don't try them ones for me. That's what we need. That's who we need against Usyk. That military mindset. AJ with the resume and the knockout power. Don't up yourself against me. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, it's not about the belt. You don't want to do that with me. That's who I'm looking for, and that's who the whole boxing world want to see. They say I'm hating, but this is what we're looking for. And what will them security men do if AJ really wanted to kick off? What are they gonna do? That's it. That's what we need. That landlord. That man. Look at the walk. That's it. Yeah, he's still talking to him. And Brazil was shook as well. Brazil was shook after all of that. Telling you now. Right. That's the guy we're looking for. Says, remember, AJ only fights angry when he's provoked by his opponent. Usyk doesn't provoke anyone, he doesn't really need to. I don't see Joshua beat Usyk unless Usyk is compromised. AJ was serious back then, gives too much respect to opponents nowadays. Looking back at the old footage, I'm wondering if AJ is a boxer who needed 0 losses. AJ fighting Usyk with anger will more likely backfire on him. Of course, I agree. Remember, Michael Hook tried to intimidate and fought Usyk with anger. Usyk destroyed him badly. Yeah. But at least that AJ is not going to be having you hold his belts. That AJ was a bit more down to business. But I don't know. Maybe the cover's been blown, and now we're seeing the real AJ for what it is. I don't know. Final thoughts after seeing that?
He's not coming back.
What? He's not coming back.
That AJ is not coming back. The one that we got is all we're gonna have.
That AJ is gone.
Yeah, I think too much money and the way he lost to Ruiz, he hasn't recouped from it. And now Usyk has one up on him. AJ's in the pit against the most skillful opponent he ever had. I don't see it.
Michael Buffer says, unfortunately, that AJ's gone. It reminds me of Mike Tyson when Mike was a killer. Now 9 months past his prime, and AJ too. Sad. All right, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in and watched tonight. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking, sharing. Smash the like button as always. Really appreciate that. That lets YouTube know that this is a video people should be watching. Eugene, as always, thank you so much for doing a fabulous job. We really appreciate you.
Been a pleasure. Thank you for letting me share a bit of a knowledge and I guess have somebody to talk to you about the things that are left neglected.
Yes,
somebody has
absolutely.
to hear them, and then people might decide, whether they want it or not.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to call the title of this video? I was going to say the truth about Oleksandr Usyk Part 2. I don't know, but what do you think? What do you want to call it?
Mm-hmm. Haven't thought about it.
Usyk mindset going into Joshua 2.
The mindset AJ needs.
Well, it's not really AJ, is it? It's mainly about Usyk, isn't it? So
yeah, but that's the thing. Usyk already got it.
So, but in terms of the title for this video, what's going to make you watch it?
Why Usyk's mindset is that of a champion?
Could be.
or Usyk has the mindset of a champion.
Maybe something like maybe uh, the truth about Usyk versus AJ2, or
Yeah,
Usyk's mindset going into AJ2. I don't know, something like that.
I think the first one, the truth about
The
Usyk
real truth
AJ2.
about the real truth about Oleksandr Usyk versus AJ2.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we'll go that. All right, Eugene, thank you so much as always. Again, thank you to everybody who's been in the house. Really appreciate you all. Thank you as always. Thank you also to Eugene. Again, rate, subscribe, leave a comment, share the videos, smash that like button, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.